Okay, so welcome Hannah to Escape the Rat Race Radio. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very, very good indeed. And where in the world are you right now?
So I am currently in Canggu in Bali. So it's 10:15 my time. So I've got this light on here. But yeah, I'm in Bali.
Excellent. And let's kick things off. And why don't you tell everyone listening right now what business you're in, Hannah, and what specifically that involves on a day-to-day basis?
Sure. So I am a personal brand strategist. So I essentially work with people to discover their why, discover, deeply inside of them what their thing is, their one thing is, and help them to bring that out and package that and market that. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So as with all escapee interviews, we kick off with part one, which is where you were. So Hannah, tell our listeners where you used to work and what you used to do.
Okay. So after graduating with a law degree, I went to Accenture to work in Accenture Digital. So that's the digital part of the consulting practice. I worked on 7 projects as a digital and innovation analyst and left there in January 2018.
Okay. And can you describe at what point you realised that you didn't want to work for somebody else any longer? And what were some of the first steps that you took about changing your situation?
So it was 2 things that happened. The first was I was sat on the tube on the Northern Line and I was staring at this man and I was thinking, is this it? Oh my God, is this it? I'm 24 and is this it? Am I done? Am I just going to be this man at 60 who's just doing this for his life? And I just thought, no, there has to be more. I can't do that. There is more. I know there's more, but I don't know what it is yet. And I don't know what I'm going to do about it. 2 weeks later, I went to Bali for the 3rd time with my 2 best friends for holiday. And I saw all these very happy, healthy looking people typing away on their laptops, running their own businesses online. And I turned to my friends and I said, oh, I'm going to move to Bali next year. And they were like, oh, okay. And that was it.
And following that then, how did you kind of settle on a decision as exactly what it was that you were going to do that was going to help you start generating enough additional income to be able to quit your job?
I would say I have always had so much faith in the future. My bad times have always got what's always got me through my bad times is the faith in the future. It's the number one thing that Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich. And I would say the decision was made at that point. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just had faith that I was hard enough working and that if all of those people could do it, that I would be able to do it. So I decided to move back in with my parents for 6 months to save enough money to get me out there and to live enough time to, understand exactly what people are doing online. And I saved £5,000, which I thought was like so inspirational, but actually wasn't that much. So yeah, it was very much faith. And then when I got here, I realized how amazing it was. And I knew that I was going to do whatever it took to make it work.
So obviously setting like a financial buffer there was one of the parameters. Was there anything else specifically that you kind of set yourself in order to know when was going to be exactly the right time for you to leave?
I just said that in 2018, my favorite number's 8. I think that was significant. And I just said that in 2018, I was going to go after a life that I knew existed. So in terms of a plan, I didn't have a set plan. I just knew that it was possible. And the decision was made when I booked the flight.
Awesome. Okay. And can you remember what your Escape the Rat Race date was, Hannah? The day that you actually left your job?
It was the 12th of January last year.
In 2018, yeah.
2018. I remember it very, very clearly. I remember my leaving party. I remember the moment where I handed all my stuff back in. It was a very significant day of going on a search for freedom. And I have moments where I miss the company because I did have a fantastic time there and met amazing people. But it was without a doubt the most powerful thing I've ever done in my life.
Moving into part 2 then, Hannah. So where you are now. So just remind us exactly how long ago is it now since you left your job?
So it is 1 year and 2 weeks that I left. It's been just over 1 year since I arrived in Bali, and I got my first job, freelance job, in March 2018.
And I was just watching actually one of your videos on YouTube, which I highly recommend people go and check out. And you were just giving some of your realizations of that first 12 months. So let me ask you now, Hannah, what are the 3 biggest realizations that you've had since transitioning from being a corporate employee to becoming an entrepreneur?
I think the first thing is looking at your life and really being honest with yourself about whether you feel that you've got control over your life and over your happiness. And I think we often don't realize why we're not happy or not fulfilled. And when you actually look at it, it's because we're actually not in control. And when you take control, that can free you up. So I would say that was a huge thing for me. I think learning everything you can. You can never ever stop learning, and learning from everybody who's around you, but also selecting the right people to learn from. And for me, the strongest one is taking the terrible things that happen to everybody and always knowing that you can get through anything. And if ever I panic about something, I can always tell myself, you've been through worse. And I think you need a lot of strength when you work for yourself. It's a very different way of living, but it's a different kind of strength because it's a happy strength. It's a proud strength. It's a fulfilling, uplifting feeling. So although, is it harder in some ways? Yes. But are you happier? Yes. And that's how I measure success. So I would say those 3 things.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And it's an interesting one because it can become harder to kind of close the door on work life and personal life, because obviously with a job you kind of leave at 5 p.m. and that's it. Any problems you kind of leave to your boss or the company and you think, that's their issue to sort out. Whereas when it's of course your own business, you can often easily take that home with you. And it is an interesting kind of transition period, isn't it, of getting used to that and making sure that work just doesn't take over your life as well.
Yeah, and I think that definitely comes from setting the right habits. So, not spending time with people that are working, in an unhealthy way, that make you feel that you should work in that unhealthy way. You don't have to make yourself ill. You don't have to work at these ridiculous hours. If you plan your time and work with intention and learn as much as you can, and then put the right habits in terms of, for me, exercise. I have to exercise, 5 times a week. And that's usually either my line in the sand in the evening, or it's a thing that I focus on in the morning that helps me to feel settled throughout the day. So I think it's working out those things that are away from your laptop, away from your phone, and setting those habits in place as early as possible. Because if you, at the beginning, you're excited, so you want to work all the time. And I think that lasted for me probably about 2 or 3 months, and I was happy like that. And then I was suddenly like, the 3 month, they call it something, and I was suddenly like, whoa, I need to take a look at this because I'm not, this is reality kicking in now. And I think putting those structures in and spending time with people whose values match yours, I think is really, really key.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you love most about having your own business, Hannah?
I think for me, it's the combination of the freedom of time and the way that I can choose. I'm much more productive in the mornings than I am in the evenings. So the kind of 9 to 5 never worked for me, because at about 2 to 3, I start to need some time out. Whereas 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm like ready to go. So I think it's having the control over my own time. And it's also having the ability to be super excited about something and then just do it. Because sometimes you can get super excited about something in a company and then it sort of goes through this and that and that and that, and then it's done, or you're not even excited anymore. So I think, those 2.
I totally agree that one of the key things is really getting to understand yourself. And I know you talked about flow in your video, and it really makes such a difference when you understand where you should be focusing your energy, and you enjoy things, you're better at it, and actually people want to work with you more because they can see that, you are the expert in the thing that you're doing. Yeah. So moving on to part 3, where you want to get to, Hannah. So did you set yourself any goals or targets when you decided to leave your job and start your own business, and have you reached them yet?
I set a life goal to wake up every morning and be excited for my day. So I would say I've definitely hit that. I didn't set myself the goal to start 3 businesses, and I think I got a little overexcited, and now I'm sort of zoning in on the one. So I would say that my goal was to learn. I wanted to send myself on a year-long personal MBA business life journey to learn as much as I possibly could in a shorter space of time. And I think that was my goal, and I think that's what I achieved.
Excellent. And do you feel now that you've got greater potential to achieve your bigger life goals now that you've got control over your time?
Oh, 100%. I think the biggest thing that you get from having your own business is that control over your time, which means you have the space to really work out what's important to you. Because if something isn't important to you when you run your own business, then you either need to get someone else to do it, not do it, or make a change. And I think you're forced to learn so much more about yourself when you're doing something for yourself than you ever could be. And absolutely, I think once you start, I think the potential just like unravels, and your confidence in yourself just starts to just flow out. Like you can't stop it. Like I can't sleep at the moment because I'm like so excited. That's why I was like, fine, this is at 10 o'clock. So I'm just like,
yeah, that's awesome. And what's the one most important thing that you believe is going to help you to carry on your success over the next 12 months?
For me, I think the most valuable thing which I have read and done is really, really understanding my why. So Simon Sinek's, he has his Start With Why book, and then he has his Find Your Why book. And I think I read it once and then I read it again, because I think understanding why you're doing something and your vision, and then that helps you to make every other decision, whether that's a small decision now or a huge decision in the future. Does that match up with your why? And I've actually done that exercise subconsciously over the years and now, and it's always been the same answer. And I think it's always just making sure you're filtering your decisions through your why. And I think that's what I talk to my clients about, and for me, I think that's the most powerful thing that I've done.
That's excellent advice. Okay, then final words from you, Hannah. So for anyone listening right now, they're squashed up on a train, they're on their way to work, maybe stuck in a traffic jam, and they really, really just want to do something different with their lives, but perhaps something's holding them back. Perhaps it's fear. What would you like to say to those people listening right now?
I think we as a society need to get better at looking inside of ourselves and looking at that one thing that makes us so unique, and that draws people towards us and makes us the best at something. And sometimes we see glimpses of it, sometimes we're fully doing it, but what that one thing is, because even me saying it right now, people will be smiling because you know it, you do know deep down. And that once you can settle on that and think this is the thing, which I don't know, you may not have a plan, but you've settled on it, and you know that you deserve more because you have that one thing inside of you which is pushing you and telling you that you can have more and be more. I think you've just got to turn the tap on, and then it all just comes out. But you've got to let that tap go, because it's not that scary. The scariest thing is saying, actually, I'm going to do it. And you just need one bit of confidence to push you over the edge. And I think that's finding that one thing inside of you, which you know that you do the best, better than anyone, and that you love the most, and that you want to teach your friends or your children or your whatever. So that for me is looking inside for that one thing and believing that it's possible.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for those last words there. Well, enjoy Bali. I won't lie, I'm a little bit jealous. But you've been a fantastic escapee today. Thank you, Hannah. And I look forward to catching up with you again really soon.
Thank you so much, Christian.
See ya.